First of all, I'd like to take a moment to recap recent operations in the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility. Per our DoD statement last night, a U.S. contractor was killed yesterday and 5 U.S. service members and 1 additional U.S. contractor were wounded after a one-way unmanned aerial vehicle struck a maintenance facility on a coalition base near Hasaka in northeast Syria at approximately 1:38 p.m. local time. Secretary Austin, at the direction of President Biden, authorized U.S. Central Command forces to conduct precision strikes into eastern Syria against facilities used by groups affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The airstrikes were conducted in response to yesterday's attack, as well as a series of recent attacks against coalition forces in Syria by groups affiliated with the IRGC. In terms of airstrike details, 2 U.S. Air Force F-15E fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Air Force's Central and based in the CENTCOM area of responsibility struck 2 IRGC-affiliated facilities at approximately 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time, or 2:40 a.m. local. The facilities were located near Dar ez-Zur in eastern Syria, and we're continuing to assess the outcome of the strikes. Initial indications are that the facilities were destroyed. In regards to any militant casualties, we're still assessing. These precision strikes were intended to protect and defend U.S. personnel, and the U.S. took proportionate and deliberate action intended to limit the risk of escalation and minimize casualties. As Secretary Austin said in his statement, no group will strike our troops with impunity. Again, Secretary Austin, along with the Department of Defense, offer our thoughts and prayers to the family and colleagues of the American contractor who was killed and with those who were wounded in the attack. Our forces deployed in Syria continue to conduct their important mission in support of the international coalition to ensure the enduring defeat of ISIS.
In the counterstrikes, did the U.S. hit 3 or 2? Was it 3 strikes or 2 strikes?
Two different facilities, so 2 strikes.
2 strikes, okay. And then secondly, can you talk a little bit about the protection at the base where the Iranian drone hit? My understanding is that there was some either lacking protections there. Can you say whether or not any of the radars or aerostats or anything that are there either failed or were not operating? Is there adequate protection there now? How did the drone pierce the security of that base? And then I have one follow-up.
Sure. So first of all, broadly speaking, for operation security reasons, I'm not going to get into the specifics in terms of the types of force protection capabilities we have in our facilities, other than to say we take force protection very, very seriously. I will say, as it pertains to radar, my understanding is that there was a complete site picture in terms of radar. All that said, as is the case in any type of attack, U.S. Central Command will conduct a review to assess what happened and take a look at what, if any, other type of mitigating actions need to be taken. But it would obviously be premature to talk about that. And then your follow-up?
Just a quick follow-up on the actual situation now. Obviously, the U.S. Was struck again. Green Village was hit again in response to the U.S. retaliatory strikes. Are things escalating there? Can we expect more? Is this turning into a far more escalatory situation in Syria for the troops?
Sure. And as you highlight, this morning at approximately 8:05 a.m. local time, which would have been 1:05 a.m. Eastern time, we had 10 rockets that targeted coalition forces at Green Village in northeast Syria. The attack resulted in no injuries to U.S. or coalition personnel and no damage to equipment or facilities. In terms of escalation, look, again, our focus in Syria is on the defeat ISIS mission, and that will remain our focus. We do not seek conflict with Iran. We don't seek escalation with Iran. But the strikes that we took last night were intended to send a very clear message that we will take the protection of our personnel seriously and that we will respond quickly and decisively if they are threatened. You go to Fadi.
Thank you, General. I have 2 questions. So according to the DoD, the intelligence assessment is this UAV to be of Iranian origin. the groups that were targeted by the U.S. are affiliated with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. One American citizen was killed, 6 more were injured. Do you and the Department and the Secretary of Defense hold Iran responsible for the death of an American citizen?
Look, we know that these groups are sponsored by Iran, so Iran certainly plays a role in terms of ensuring that this type of activity doesn't happen.
So is Iran responsible for the death of an American citizen or not?
Look, Iran certainly, again, backs these groups and by default, therefore, has a responsibility to ensure that they're not contributing to insecurity and instability, but clearly they continue to do that.